Anyways, that was the good about MLS, but you know, guys, there might be some shots fired here. Let's have a look at this lovely little quote from Christian Oliveira, the Uruguayan player, talking about a conversation he had with Marcelo Bielsa on MLS. Now, here's what he said. Bielsa had told me during my time with the under-23 squad that I needed to leave Los Angeles as it wasn't a suitable league for my development. He bluntly stated that it stunts players' growth. I felt it too, realizing that my rhythm was lacking. He goes on to say, and I attributed that to the league I was in. Now, in Brazilian football, with its matches every 3 days, it is truly invigorating. Pew, pew, pew. So, guys, is that shots fired there? Is that type of criticism from Oliveira warranted? Is it justified, you think? I know it's coming from Marcelo Bielsa, but he's also pretty much saying, yo, I felt it too.
Warranted or not, it's damning for Major League Soccer.
Yeah.
What you're saying is that it's not a proper league for the development of a footballer. Now, the word he used, and I have to go back and check it, but in Uruguay, it's used in a way of saying you get comfortable.
Yeah.
So that's damning in itself. What he's saying is there is no pressure, that you're going to build bad habits because of the lack of pressure. And you can accumulate that pressure with the attention that footballers get in this country, to the lack of promotion, relegation, and games don't mean anything. You can lose the first, and trust me, I've been there with the Seattle Sounders. We were dead terrible until the dog days of summer, and after this All-Star break, or after Copa America break, I believe August, September, we'll make a run, get into MLS Cup, and you end up winning the competition. Same thing can happen in Liga MX, where you get into these environments where most games don't mean anything until they do. Well, the rest of the world, because of Pro Rel, because of the attention, like in Brazil, they're going to mean a little bit more. You're going to have more attention on you. So I understand that, but regardless if they're warranted or not, this is damning for Major League Soccer. You were talking about the age difference, the retiree tag that they want to shed, right? Major League Soccer, this is just as bad, because what they're saying is your football isn't important enough.
We have the opposite to that when Marcelo Bielsa called Rodrigo Aguirre to the national team. That was the first time he was ever called to the senior squad.
Yeah, at 30 years old.
And he said, I'm calling this guy because he plays for America in the Mexican League. And he's a starter for Club America in the Mexican League. And that's tough. That's difficult. That means something. So I was actually kind of surprised with that quote, because Marcelo Bielsa, I mean, not going to question his commitment. We might agree or disagree
on his
with his style and his methods. But his knowledge and commitment to know the game from all around the world, I mean, it's probably unparalleled at this point. So, yeah, it is damaging to the league that someone with his pedigree would go out and say something like that, or at least through one of his players say something like that.
Well, it kind of reminds me of an interview that I did a couple of years ago with DeAndre Yedlin, and he was talking about, of course, his time when he left MLS and went to the UK, started playing, and he talked about how mentally it was so difficult for him to adjust, because he said, look, we would, you know, lose games back to back in MLS, and, you know, they'd get behind you in the locker rooms and say, it's okay, guys, chin up, we got this, hug, hug, hug. And you go to Spurs, you go over to Newcastle, and as we know, the managers are absolutely tearing you a new one. They're giving you that Sir Alex Ferguson hairdryer treatment, and he said, I actually prefer that. That actually helped me more in my development. So is he kind of hinting that that's a similar thing, and then, as you said, for the youngsters?
I believe so. Listen, when I was down in Mexico, there were certain days of the week, there were certain game days, or the week of the games, where I wouldn't go out because the fans would be all over you. Hey, this game's important. We can't lose to this team. This game's important. Tell the guys, it's an uncomfortable feeling. And if you lost, you wouldn't go out. It's your mood, their mood, your overall quality of life depended on the result. That's football around the world.
Yeah.
Major League Soccer's got a lot of great plazas, a lot of great locations. You look at Atlanta United, they were third in global attendance this weekend. That is insane. Yeah. That football means something, but there are not enough Atlanta Uniteds. There are not enough Seattle Sounders. There are not enough LA Galaxies, LAFCs, these important plazas. And that's what they're getting at. And he was in an important plaza like LAFC. They had everything they could ever want in terms of development. I guarantee you what LAFC has, no team in Uruguay has. Marcelo Bielsa does not have. And yet, here he is saying, this is going to stifle your development. And he's talking about what you're talking about. He's talking about that pressure. He's talking about football meaning something. That's tough because right now Major League Soccer has gotten to the point where because of the money they have and because of the scouting, the recruiting, they're bringing in young talent, South American talent, European talent early here, trying to get them out on the field, play them, and then sell them. And if this is the message you're hearing from top coaches around the world, that it's going to stifle your development, well, maybe players are going to think twice.
All right, well, still plenty of work to do there. Well, speaking of the world of football, ESPN FC is available daily, 7 days a week. You can join Kay Murray, Dan Thomas, and the gang. It's on ESPN+.